Today we're talking about the magic number that keeps financial advisors employed and the rest of us questioning our life choices. $1 million for retirement. You know, that completely arbitrary number that somehow became the golden standard for a comfortable retirement, like someone just pulled it out of thin air at a cocktail party in 1985 and everyone just went with it. So who actually has $1 million saved up for retirement? Is it your neighbor with the nice lawn? Your college roommate who sold his tech startup? That guy at work who brings the same sad sandwich every single day and drives a car from 2003? Let's dive into this financial mystery and figure out who's actually crushing it in the retirement savings game. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. When you hear $1 million, your brain probably does this thing where it sounds like an absolutely massive amount of money. And sure, it is a lot of money, but here's the reality check that's going to make you question everything. $1 million in retirement isn't what it used to be. I know, but stick with me here because this is important. If you retire at 65 with $1 million and you follow the classic 4% withdrawal rule, which is basically the financial planning equivalent of trust me bro, you're looking at $40,000 a year before taxes. Add in the average Social Security benefit of about $1,976 per month as of 2025, that's another $23,712 annually. So you're at around $63,700 total. Yeah, you can live comfortably, but you're not exactly buying a yacht and sailing around the Mediterranean sipping champagne. You're more like shopping at Costco and getting excited about senior discounts at Denny's. Still pretty good, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly retire at 40 and never work again money. Now, who actually has this mythical $1 million saved up? According to Vanguard's 2024 data on retirement accounts, about 3.8% of individual 401k accounts have balances over $1 million. But here's where it gets more interesting. When you look at total household retirement savings, combining all accounts from both spouses, IRAs, 401ks, everything, approximately 13% of households aged 55 to 64 have reached the $1 million mark or higher, according to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances. That means 87% of households approaching retirement haven't hit $1 million. The median retirement account balance for Americans aged 55 to 64 is approximately $185,000. For those aged 65 to 74, it's around $200,000. So if you're sitting there thinking you're behind, statistically speaking, you've got a lot of company. But let's break down who these millionaire savers actually are, because it's not just lottery winners and tech bros, though there are definitely some of those in the mix. First up, we've got the high earners. Shocking, I know. People who make a lot of money tend to save a lot of money. According to data from Fidelity, the average 401k balance for people earning $150,000 or more is around $450,000. But those in the top 10% of earners, we're talking people making $200,000 plus annually, are far more likely to hit that $1 million threshold. Doctors, lawyers, successful business owners, corporate executives, and that one friend from high school who somehow became a consultant and nobody's exactly sure what that means, but they're clearly doing well. These folks have a massive advantage because they can save ridiculous amounts while still maintaining a comfortable lifestyle. The 401k contribution limit for 2025 is $23,500 plus another $7,500 in catch-up contributions if you're 50 or older. That's $31,000 a year you can sock away in just your 401k, not counting IRA contributions which have their own limits of $7,000 plus $1,000 catch-up. When you're pulling in $25,000 a month, saving $2,500 to $3,000 of it doesn't exactly require you to eat ramen noodles for dinner. You can still go to nice restaurants, take vacations, and buy whatever organic, free-range, artisanal nonsense you want at Whole Foods. But here's what's interesting. Even among high earners, plenty of them don't have $1 million saved up. Why? Because lifestyle inflation is real, people. You start making more money, you buy a bigger house, you lease a nicer car, you send your kids to expensive private schools, and suddenly you're making $400,000 a year but somehow living paycheck to paycheck. According to a 2024 survey, 49% of Americans earning $100,000 or more report living paycheck to paycheck. It's wild. Then we've got the early starters. These are the people who started saving and investing in their 20s. And I'm not talking about throwing $50 a month into a savings account earning 0.01% interest. I'm talking about the folks who are maxing out their 401k contributions while the rest of us were buying concert tickets and adding guacamole at Chipotle without even thinking about the extra $2. Thanks to compound interest, these early starters have watched their money grow exponentially over the decades. Let me give you some actual numbers. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25 and earn an average annual return of 7%, which is conservative compared to the S&P 500's historical average of around 10%, by age 55, you'd have approximately $615,000. Bump that to $700 a month and you'd have about $862,000. Get it to $800 a month from age 25 to 55, you'd crack $985,000. At $900 a month from age 25 to 55, you'd have roughly $1,108,000. The math on compound interest is honestly kind of insane. If you invest $10,000 at age 20 and never add another penny, assuming a 7% annual return, you'd have over $76,000 by age 55. But if you wait until age 30 to invest that same $10,000, you'd only have about $38,000. Starting 10 years earlier literally doubles your money. And yet most of us in our 20s are convinced we're going to be young forever and retirement is some distant concept that doesn't apply to us.
Next category, the inheritance crew. Now, this is a touchy subject because we like to pretend that America is a pure meritocracy where everyone pulls themselves up by their bootstraps. But the reality is that inherited wealth is a massive factor in who reaches that million-dollar milestone. According to the Federal Reserve, approximately $84 trillion is expected to transfer from baby boomers to their heirs over the next 20 years. The Survey of Consumer Finances shows that about 21% of households have received an inheritance at some point, with a median inheritance value of around $72,000. Some folks inherit actual money directly, others inherit real estate that appreciates over decades, and some just inherit the advantage of not having student loans because mom and dad paid for college. All of these things make it dramatically easier to save for retirement. It's a lot easier to max out your retirement contributions when you're not sending $500 to $1,000 a month to loan servicers for the next 20 years. The average student loan debt for bachelor's degree recipients in 2024 is approximately $30,000. For graduate degrees, it can easily exceed $100,000. Not having that burden is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over a career. Then we've got the frugal crew, and these people are fascinating. These are the folks making average salaries. The median household income in the US is about $80,610 as of 2023, but they've managed to accumulate serious wealth through sheer discipline and a willingness to live way below their means. They're driving 10-year-old Hondas, packing lunches every single day, taking staycations instead of flying to Europe, and putting every spare dollar into index funds. There are documented stories of teachers, janitors, and regular working-class people who died with millions in the bank. Ronald Reed, a janitor and gas station attendant from Vermont, died in 2014 with an $8 million fortune built entirely from frugal living and dividend stock investing. The lesson isn't to deprive yourself for 50 years to be the richest person in the cemetery. It's about balance. You can save 15 to 20%, invest wisely, and still enjoy your life. Go on that vacation, buy the nice coffee sometimes. Just don't finance a lifestyle you can't afford. These people understood something fundamental. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and invest. According to research, the average savings rate in America hovers around 3.6 to 5% of income. But people who reach $1 million in retirement savings typically saved 15 to 20% or more of their income consistently over decades. But let's be honest, this approach requires a level of delayed gratification that most of us just don't have. The average American household spends approximately $3,526 annually on food delivery and dining out. These frugal folks are meal prepping for the entire week on Sundays like some kind of financial ninjas. Now let's talk about the business owners and entrepreneurs who made it. According to the Kauffman Foundation, about 50% of small businesses survive past 5 years, and only about 33% make it to 10 years. But the ones who do can accumulate wealth faster than almost any other path. Sell a successful business, and you could pocket $1 million or more in a single transaction. Build a business that throws off serious cash flow, and you can fund your retirement accounts to the max while building equity in something you might eventually sell. The catch? Starting a business is risky as hell. For every person who sells their company for millions, there are dozens who poured their life savings into an idea that went nowhere. It's entrepreneurship, not a guaranteed path to riches, despite what every guy with a podcast and a course to sell wants you to believe.
Let's also talk about the geographic factor, because where you live matters way more than people think. The cost of living index shows that living in San Francisco is about 94% more expensive than living in Houston. In Manhattan, the median rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around $4,500 per month. In Nashville, it's closer to $1,650. That's a $2,850 monthly difference, or $34,200 per year. Someone making $70,000 in Knoxville, Tennessee can save way more aggressively than someone making $120,000 in San Francisco or New York City. Invest that $34,200 annual difference for 30 years at 7% returns, and you're looking at approximately $3.2 million. The location advantage alone could make you a multimillionaire. According to the Council for Community and Economic Research, the most expensive U.S. cities have a cost of living index around 180 to 200, while affordable cities like Memphis, Oklahoma City, or Wichita come in around 85 to 90. That's more than double the cost for the same lifestyle. And we can't ignore the dual-income professional couples. When you've got two people both making solid incomes, both contributing to retirement accounts, both getting employer matches, the math gets really favorable really fast. The average employer 401k match is about 4.7% of salary according to Vanguard's data. If both partners are earning $75,000 and each contributing 10% with a 5% employer match, that's $15,000 going into retirement accounts annually, not counting the match. With employer matches, you're closer to $22,500 to $30,000 per year, depending on plan generosity. Do that for 25 years with 7% average returns, and you're sitting on approximately $1.9 million. Do it for 30 years, and you're at $2.8 million.
But here's the thing, and this is important. You don't necessarily need $1 million to retire comfortably. That number is a guideline, not a requirement. Your actual number depends on your lifestyle, where you live, what your fixed costs are, what income sources you have, and a dozen other personal factors. If you own your home outright, have no debt, and live in an area with a reasonable cost of living, you might be totally fine with $500,000 in savings plus Social Security. If you plan to travel extensively, live in Manhattan, and have expensive hobbies, you might need $2 to $3 million. It's all relative. Financial planners typically recommend having 10 to 12 times your annual salary saved by retirement. So if you earn $80,000 a year, that's $800,000 to $960,000. See? Not quite $1 million. And yet you'd probably be fine. The key is to actually think about this stuff and make a plan instead of just hoping it works out. Max out your 401k match at minimum, because that's literally free money, an instant 50 to 100% return depending on your employer's match structure. Open a Roth IRA if you're eligible. The income limits for 2025 phase out starting at $150,000 for single filers. Invest in low-cost index funds. The average expense ratio for index funds is around 0.05% compared to 0.65% for actively managed funds. Increase your savings rate by 1% whenever you get a raise instead of upgrading your lifestyle. Pay off high-interest debt. The average credit card interest rate is around 24.37% as of 2024. Build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses so you don't have to raid your retirement accounts when life happens. These aren't sexy strategies. Nobody's going to make a TikTok dancing about maxing out their 401k contribution. But this boring, consistent approach is how most normal people build wealth over time. If you're nowhere near $1 million right now, don't panic. Start where you are. Save what you can. Invest consistently. Let compound interest do its thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.